Hi guys. So today we're going to be welding this jack here onto this trailer. But before we do that, you know, there's some things we need to talk about. So first of all, got to make sure you have your P.P.E, personal protective equipment, right? That's what P.P.E is. So I got my safety glasses here, brand new. I got a face shield, so when I'm grinding, I can put that on. I also have my welder's hat. I know you guys really like me when I wear this. It's really cool, right? I think you like it more when I put it on this way. Yee! All right. That's just to keep my hair from burning when I'm welding. And then I have my welding helmet here, the auto darkening one. So I'm letting that charge as we talk. I also have, my welding gloves here. Also can be used during grinding. And let's talk about equipment a little bit. I got my grinder. It's got a flap wheel on it. This is basically used to, sand the paint or powder coat off this trailer. Because we can't weld directly onto the paint. We got to take some of that powder coat off. In this case, it's not paint, it's powder coat. So we're going to work on buffing some of that off. That way we get a nice surface to weld on. Since we're talking about grinders, we also have, this is called a cutting wheel. You can see it's really thin, right? And then you have this is a grinding wheel. It's a little bit thicker, very different than this flap wheel, right? This is basically like sandpaper glued and strapped together for finer work. The reason we're putting this jack on this trailer is you can see this trailer here is a trailer for hauling cars. So whenever you put a car on this trailer, what tends to happen is the back end of the trailer goes down because of the weight of the cars here on the back. You know, the front wheels come to rest on this trailer, and the front end of the trailer tends to go up in the air. So you always want to make sure that you have the trailer attached to the pickup truck before you try to put a car on here. But what helps even more is if you have these jacks in back and they're welded onto here, you can put the jack down and now you keep the truck and trailer from pitching, right? So they're level. You put the car on the back of the trailer. The truck and trailer tend to want to do this number, and to keep that from happening, put some jacks in back, and now the jacks will create a stable surface, something solid, so the car can get up on the trailer without endangering anybody around it, anybody driving the car, or for that matter, keep any property damage from happening to the truck or to the trailer. So let's start by buffing some of this powder coat off this trailer so we can get a nice surface to weld on. Alright, here we go. Got power, got flap wheel, safety glasses, face shield, gloves, kind of optional on this one, so I'm not going to put them on. Let's buff off some of this powder coat, that way we get a nice welding surface. So what we did there was take some of that powder coat off, so we have a clean metal. I have to take a little excess off, a little bit more than usual, because I don't have anywhere to put my grounding clamp. So you gotta have bare metal, put your grounding clamp, and also to weld. We'll see how much of this powder coat boils off as we're welding, because we're gonna get it kind of hot. So here's the jack, and here's the insert that goes here in the jack, right? So I'm going to weld this insert onto the trailer. I'm going to start by tack welding it. Tack weld means just to weld in a little spot and then move to another spot and just kind of, you know, like temporarily put it up to see if it's in the right spot. Got my ground clamp attached here to the metal, right? And I got my MIG welding gun here. It wasn't lined up just right, so I'm going to move it a little bit. That looks pretty good, so I'm going to put another tack on it and then attach the jack and see how it functions before I completely go around and weld the whole thing. Okay, so basically that's how the jack's gonna sit when the trailer's in transit. Then when we get somewhere, want to load a car, vehicle, a tractor up onto the trailer, you take this pin out, right, and turn it, and then it's gonna be able to create that stable platform. Looks good to me. We're going to go ahead and go around the whole thing and weld it. Another thing that tack welding does is you should always tack 2 or 3 places first, because if you just start welding on one side and start making your way around, you'll see the metal tends to warp, and then it actually that base will come off the surface where we're welding, and then you're going to have a gap in between the jack base and the trailer. So you go around and tack a few places, and it keeps the metal from warping. Turn my welder up. And see what we can do here. I forgot the ground. That sounds better. Fire. I feel my hair burning a little bit, so I'm gonna put my little hat on. Fire! Looks pretty good for government work. I won't show you those welds up close because they're some of the ugliest I've done. It's been a long time since I used my MIG welder. So we're gonna do the same thing to the other side, and then I'll show you the finished product. So here we are. We finished welding both jack stands on. So here's a look at one side, right? Looks pretty good. The welds came out a little bit better on this side, but I won't give you too much of a close-up for all you guys in welding that say you could do better. Well, tough. And then here's the other side, right? Alright, so since we always like, doing a nice job and giving it a nice finish, I'm going to take the jacks off. And in case anybody missed it, right? You just pivot the jack down, put the pin back in, and then lower the jack all the way to the floor, and that's what keeps the trailer from tilting when you load up a car. Take the pin out, take the jack stand off, and we're going to clean up the weld with a wire brush. I have a synthetic brush to get any dust off, and then we're going to hit it with some gray Rust-Oleum. Forgot my safety glasses. Okay, so all that was doing was getting the welding residue off, any smoke that got stuck to the metal, penetrated in there. We're just getting it clean so we have a nice surface to paint. We're going to tape it off and then put some cardboard around and make sure our paint doesn't, spread out and get on anything it's not supposed to. Got some cardboard here just to help us cheat and use a little less tape. We're almost out of paint on this one, but we're going to try to see if we can squeeze a few more drops out. We're out on that one. Switch over to the new one. One thing about these Rust-Oleum paints is you really got to shake them good if you want to avoid the spray nozzle from getting plugged up. They're such good thick paints that plug up the nozzle if you don't shake it well. Okay, and there we go. Not bad for government work. We'll do the same thing to the other side and give it a nice little finish. Okay guys, so we're pretty much done here. Here's your homework, your assignment. Give me one example of P.P.E. Make that 2 examples of P.P.E. that I used today. And also tell me one thing I did wrong. It could have been safety, or maybe the process I used, or the order of things, or maybe something you would have done different. Okay guys, that's your homework in the comments section. See you later. Clean up! Clean up time!